Hi, it's another time on Tell Me the Stories of Jesus, and it's me, your friend, Dr. Abby, speaking to my friends, young boys and girls who are Christians and who want to draw closer to God, do His will in everything that they do. And we've been talking about David. Can you remember? Yes. So we've talked about David, the shepherd boy. And then last week we talked about David, the warrior. Today we're going to talk about David, the loyal friend. David, the loyal friend. So we're we're continuing. We've read 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 17. So we read further. Remember when David defeated Goliath? That was a big win, wasn't it? That was like a defining moment in his life. And people got to know that, yes, David is a warrior. Yes, you remember, after that, you would always have people like that around you. Some women went dancing around the whole town and they kept saying, Saul killed 1,000, David killed 10,000. Do you know who people like that are? They're people who exaggerate things. And if you're not careful, they might cause you some problems. So they exaggerated. Where did they see Saul killing 1,000 and David killing tens of thousands? And they did that. And Saul, who was the reigning king at that time, he became quite immature about it. And he started to get angry. He started to envy David. He started to all of a sudden just feel angry with David. And remember that by that time, David's talent had gotten him to the palace. By that time, David would play the harp for Saul when Saul had that evil spirit that comes on him. And David remained humble. He wasn't, even after he killed Goliath and even fought another battle for Israel after that, he wasn't proud. He remained at the service of Saul. But Saul will suddenly get angry. And it got worse. And you know what he did on one occasion? He just took the javelin. So that's like a very long, sharp instrument. And he just threw it at David. And David dodged. And he didn't miss him. He was safe. He ran away. And at this time, when David had started to go to the palace, he had gotten close to Saul's son, Jonathan. And both of them became best buddies. They were close. They were like brothers. And Jonathan was not happy the way his father was treating David. And David ran away. And David will speak to Jonathan. And Jonathan will try to reassure David. But when David goes back to the palace, maybe to play music for Saul, he gets angry again, throws the javelin. And then David really knew that, whoa, his life was in danger. And he had to run. But then he also had his friend, and they were both loyal to one another. And Jonathan was so good to David. And so he said, you know what? One more time, let me go and speak to my father, and let me try and suss and see his feelings towards you. If I think there is no problem, we will agree on a sign, and then you can come back. But if I think there is a problem, we agree on how I pass the message across to you, and you run. That's what a good friend does, a loyal friend. Jonathan didn't for one time think, oh, David is now going to be king after my father, means I will not be king, and then he becomes nasty. He just stayed true to David. He separated all that from the way he was thinking. He just felt, you know what? I found a nice lad, a good friend. I'll be a good friend of his. He will be a good friend of mine. After all, he's helping my father when that bad spirit, comes on him. So Jonathan went, and what they agreed on was how Jonathan would shoot an arrow, and depending on where the arrow lands and the instructions that Jonathan gives, David would know if Saul was happy with him or Saul wanted to kill him. Because by that time, Saul had done many things, will send people after David to try and kill him. So David really knew his life was in danger. But Jonathan needed to finally, let him know. So by the time Jonathan met with Saul, his father, he knew Saul was bent on killing David. I won't bore you with the details of the sign and how they were going to send the coded message, but then David knew that his time was up. He had to run. But he was, both friends, they were so faithful, so loyal to one another. And it goes two ways. You can't be disloyal and the other loyal. It won't work for long. Both of you have to stay true to one another. And so David then came out from where he was hiding and he hugged Jonathan and they cried and then they promised to look after themselves. David promised Jonathan that no matter what happens, he will look out for Jonathan. He will look out for all Jonathan's, descendants. And that's how they parted way. And David ran and he had to flee and go into hiding. But before he ran, he was always faithful. He was always loyal to Jonathan. And in their relationship and friendship, there wasn't, I'm the king's son, you're a shepherd boy. They were just friends, yeah? And so David went. God gave him men that supported him, surrounded him, even when he had the chance twice. So I'm saying story that spans through many chapters of 1 Samuel and goes into 2 Samuel. Remember, we said stories of Jesus. You go back and read. I summarize because I won't bore you with every details, but go back with daddy and mommy and read and find out more. And you learn more lessons than I tell you, because I can't tell you all the lessons in one story. So David, God gave him men that supported him. And there was a time he even had the chance to kill Saul twice. He had that opportunity, but he didn't, because he recognized that Saul also was anointed of God. And he waited his time. He wasn't in a hurry. He knew he would get to the throne, but he was waiting for God's time. Yeah? So that's the story. David was a loyal friend. And later, we read later, when he got to the throne and he became king, unfortunately, Jonathan died early and Saul also died. But David made sure that he checked all round until he found the descendant of Jonathan. And he made sure that the descendant came to the palace with him and he took care of him and he gave him everything that he wanted. So he stayed true, even in death, as a loyal friend. He stayed true. And that's what we must always do. We should be loyal all the time. Let's go back and learn our lesson. Both boys were loyal to one another, like I said. They didn't allow the fact that one is from the palace, one is a shepherd boy, to affect their friendship. They didn't allow the fact that one's father did not, like the other one. And they stayed respectful. So Jonathan did not disrespect his father Saul because of it. He just tried to still, try and say, Father, don't you think? Father, don't you think? He wasn't disrespectful. Yeah, that's another lesson. So as friends, don't let your social class come in between you. Yeah, if there are some reservations from family members, try and speak to them. Don't be disrespectful. Yeah, another lesson was that David knew when to run when he saw danger. He didn't stay. He didn't say, well, I've been anointed, nothing bad can happen to me. He saw the javelin coming, he ran. So know when to withdraw, even in friendship, especially in the relationships, that surround that friendship. Know when to take a step back, but don't let it affect your friendship. As long as you know that God is in that friendship and he wants you to continue. And then Jonathan made sure that David was safe. He went to check again what his father felt, his father's feelings for David. And once he knew it wasn't good, he helped David to run. So you help your friend to avoid danger. You help your friend to avoid anything that might harm them. And the last lesson, in death, David remained faithful to Jonathan. Be faithful to your friend, whether your friend is there or not. So we're not talking about death right now. By God's grace, we stay alive, we stay well. The Lord keeps us with our friends, with you and I. But when your friend is there or not, remain faithful. Don't let it be that when your friend steps out of the room, then you backstab them, you say something nasty about them. Then when they're in the room, you go, hello, I'm the best thing that happened to you. No, let it be that when your friend steps out of the room, if somebody says anything bad about your friend, says, whoa, 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 no, 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 that's my friend. No, I'm not going to allow that. So that's me giving an example. Stay faithful. Plus the fact that you're a child of God. Yeah, do things anytime. Just think, what will Jesus do? Will Jesus backstab? No. Will Jesus stay faithful? Yes. Will Jesus help somebody to get an escape out of trouble? Yes. So each time, if that guides you, it will really help you every stage of your life and in your relationship with people. And then next week, we're going to talk about the last phase for David, a very interesting one. But till then, continue to practice and remain faithful, remain loyal. Loyalty does not mean stupidity. It just means that you do the right thing, you do what Jesus would have done, and then you leave the rest, yeah? Remain a loyal friend. It's me, Dr. Abby. Till next time. Bye.